This time we have prepared speeches, and five of us will be speaking about certain different topics. We decided a little twist in the introduction. So what I have is a couple of slides with me, and I should have done this. So what I'll do is, this is our first speaker. He or she relates themselves to Jughead, and the reasons they give is because they like to sleep a lot, eat a lot, and mostly high on sleep, apparently. Because they say that Jughead was high on weed, but they are not. So if we can guess who the speaker is, anyone? Is that okay?
Avinash.
Awesome. And that's our speaker, and over to Avinash now to speak about his topic.
This one?
Keep the frame ready and steady so that we can edit it later on and the frame will remain.
Okay.
Can
Is it a PPT or something?
till the end?
Yeah, this
It's
one.
online. I can just log in.
Awesome, that'll be better. Because if she's my machine,
Yeah, Avinash, you can share something.
Yeah, that
you could
Here,
just
please.
share it with me. I have to change the source. Sure.
I don't think that's in my influence.
5593.
5593. Is it fine now blocking it?
No, you are blocking this one. You should.
That
Which
That's fine,
are you using?
stand in.
Standing there.
so I need to have so that I can just
I
write.
don't think so. You have to use it manually.
Okay. So good evening, peeps. Today I will be giving a talk regarding a very recent topic, which I believe all of us must have heard. That was the Greece economic crisis. It was a very hot topic. It has been a very hot topic for the last 5 years now, and I will just tell you how it started and what's the position of Greece right now, how it impacts the entire European Union if Greece exits from the Eurozone. So the first stuff that I would like to talk is how did it happen. Before 1974, Greece was run by a government named Junta, and it was basically a military dictatorship. In 1974, there was this first introduction of democracy to the country of Greece, and a party came to power. That was more or less left-oriented instead of being right-oriented. So what they did, they started spending a lot in terms of military expenditure, in terms of pension, in terms of giving social benefits. So whenever government starts spending a lot, it incurs something called as budget deficit. So what is this term? We government spend for our benefits like social security and all those stuff, but in the end they require us to pay some taxes, but that was not happening in Greece. So government was spending a lot, but they were not getting too much from their citizens, so they started having budget deficit. So what? Starting from 1974, this trend continued up till the 1990s. So they had long period of budget deficits. So starting from 1974 to 1998, it was almost 24 years, and continuously they had lots of budget deficit. So if a country start having budget deficit, they have to take loans from foreign countries. So started having international loans from countries, developed countries like Germany, France, and USA. So they are not producing goods, they are not producing services, and they are taking international loans. So what will happen? They have to pay their loan back at some point of time, but they are not producing anything, so they cannot return anything. So basically what happens in such situation, the countries devalues its current currency. That was drachma for Greece before the euro. So suppose US has given a loan of $10 million to Greece. So it converts into the local currency. So whenever you devalue your currency, it reduces, its value reduces. So if you have taken a loan of 10 million from US, you have to pay the same, but for dollars, it's reduced. So for US, it reduces to $5 million. So in the end, they have the loan also, and they can also take the money that was taken from the foreign country. So this is how devaluation works. In 1999, the European Union decided to have a common currency, which is called euro. So what happens when we have a common currency? At that point of time, there were 19 countries who were part of the European Union, and they did not have to exchange their currency. So whenever we have to exchange our currency, it more or less averagely amount to 1 to 2% of your GDP. So suppose if India's GDP is 2 trillion, 1% of 2 trillion amounts to the exchange that we do, because we trade in terms of euro, we trade in terms of sterling pound, and in terms of dollars. That was something which was reduced, having a common currency for the entire European Union. It also allowed more of cross-border trades. That was a direct consequence of no exchange cost and all those, because whenever you have to exchange in different currencies, you again have to incur this exchange cost. That's why people generally from foreign don't like to invest too much, because what the reason I have already explained. So what happened? Since because Greece was continuously devaluing its currency, its stature in terms of international market reduced, because people were not getting lots of interest when they were lending loans to Greece. So no country was willing to give loans to Greece, so there was only one option left, that was to join the European Union and accept euro as the current currency. Now with the backing of the European Central Bank, all these countries who were part of this euro trend or eurozone started having flow of money to Greece. They started investing it, because it was assumed if you are a part of the European Union, you have to support some country which is not performing well. So countries like Germany, France, and UK started supporting Greece. They started spending, they started giving loans at very small interest rate, and they also started investing a lot. So what happened? There was this boom, Greece started flying. So we had this Greece economy rose by 25%. The unemployment rate reduced very drastically, and the trade, it started increasing because we don't have any exchanges now. There was this one common currency. Then there was this big revelation. So in order to join the Eurozone, you have to meet some criteria. The first criteria was your budget deficit for the current year should be less than 3%. The second criteria was your debt to GDP ratio. That is like the loan you have taken from international countries as compared to your GDP should be less than 60%. This was the criteria, and it was revealed Greece, in order to join the European Union, manipulated it using a bank named Morgan Stanley. So they calculated something which made these all figures come down to below 60% and below 3%. So what happened when the revelation came out? The same thing, reputation of Greece, which was already nowhere, degraded. Then what? Then came the Great Recession. So although all the countries, the strong countries in the European Union, were supporting Greece during their bad times, but during the Great Recession, they can't do anything because it was such a bad period. All the countries started thinking about themselves. All started having their money and currency. It was not flowing because they were not sure whether they will invest it, they will get something out of it. So what happened? The flow of money to Greece suddenly stopped. And along with that, in 2009 and 2010, one more thing was again discovered, was Greece was continuously lying about her foreign debts. So they said it was below 60% of their GDP, but it was eventually 132% in 2009, which rose to 198% in 2012. That is, the loan that they have taken was double what they were producing as a country, their entire GDP. So Greece was shut down from borrowing international markets. Nobody was giving them any loans. So what was the causes of these collapse? The first one I have already mentioned is the government deficit, the budget deficit, that they were spending a lot in terms of pension, social security, giving lots of payment to the government employees. And the second stuff that we also suffer in India is tax evasion. So only 33% of Greek citizens generally pay their taxes. It's because they are mostly privately employed, so they always understate what they are earning, so they don't have to pay a lot back to the government. Yeah, so now Greece was going nowhere. It was about to become bankrupt. Then came these bailouts. So there was this troika. It's called International Monetary Fund, European Central Bank, and the European Commission. They issued $264 billion as bailout in 2 packages so that Greece can recover from what was going through it, which was called a crisis, which was as big as the Great Depression in 1928. But it did not help because 90% of all the bailout money was being given to the foreign countries from whom Greece has already taken the loans. So instead of reviving the economy, instead of making the banks of Greece more stronger, the money was coming into Greece and at the same time it was flowing out of the Greece in order to pay the international loans. As a result, because the economy did not get better, Greece defaulted twice. So what's the meaning of default? Whenever you get a loan, there is a particular period within which you need to pay a particular amount of money back to your lender or the person who has given you the loans. And Greece was not able to do it twice. First in 2010 and recently in 2015. It was somewhere around June or July. So defaulted twice. So what are the available options for the Greece now? There are only 2 options. The first, they can leave Euro. So as I stated earlier, whenever any country faces such economic crisis, they generally reduce the value of their currency, local currency. But since Greece is inside the Eurozone, they cannot do it because Euro is central currency for all the European Union. So if they devalue for Greece, it will have drastic effects for countries like Germany and France. The second thing that can do is they ask for another bailout. There is one catch when you get a bailout. You get huge amount of money, but you also have to follow some austerity measures. These are, you can say, constraints whenever you take bailout or whenever you take huge sum of money from any international country. So what are these constraints? You have to say like your government should spend less than 50% of their current budget, what they are spending. They have to increase the taxes so that they can get more revenue from the citizen. So in a study that was conducted, it was revealed if Greece puts a cap of 100% on all its citizens, then also it won't be able to repay the debt. In other words, like if I'm earning $100 and I'm giving $100 back to the government, still also government can't do anything. So why this Grexit? It basically means Greek exiting from the Euro is bad. So it's not only Greece who is suffering in the European Union. There are countries like Spain, Italy and Portugal who are having the same situation right now. So if Greece exits right now, so people will have this image like value of euro is not good and it will depreciate in current time, which will have drastic effects for strong economies like Germany and France. Also, since they will be out of the European Union, there will be no lenders again because they were having the backing of European Central Bank, which will be gone. So they will again hit a severe recession. So it won't be able to help anybody. Yeah. So what can Greece do next? That's just my opinion. What I have read from all the articles till now, the best for Greece would be to leave the Eurozone because they will hit a recession, but that will be only for a short period of time, like is for 1 year or 2 years. But after that, because they will have a hold on their local currency, they can manipulate how they want to be so that they can start investing more in their economy as compared to giving back to the loan. But however, this is not really possible because if you join Eurozone, there is no such term where you can just exit it without repaying your loans. So Greece in current situation is in this middle. They cannot leave Eurozone and they cannot stay in it. So there was this memorandum conducted this year where the people of Greece were asked whether they want to have another bailout from the European Union or not. they voted like they don't want to accept any another bailout, but the current situation is by the end of this year they will be getting another bailout of somewhere in the region of 100 million euros. So that's it.
Thank you very much.
Any questions?
Do we have time? I'm very sorry. If we take questions now, we might not have time for the others.
Okay, good.
But in case you all have any, make sure you all pester him later.
Yeah.
Please fill in some feedback for him so that it will help him the next time.
Thank you.
Either you tell it on that side or that's better. Thanks.
Let's just take half a minute more, and then we can move on to the next person. Cool. Do we need more time? Alright. Moving on.